Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this tutorial I'll be teaching you how to make this gold and silver bokeh cake. I've got some chocolate ganache here and I'll have the recipe for that in the description box below. Applying my 6-inch cake and then using a spatula to spread some more ganache over the top, and it's been heated in the microwave for about 10 seconds just to loosen it up and makes it a lot easier to spread. Apply your next layer of cake on top, make sure it's centered and then press it on. And I've used two 6-inch cakes, split them in half down the middle, so I have 4 layers of cake in total. Then using a spatula just to press that excess ganache up against the cake. You don't want it to set with it sticking outside, otherwise it's going to seep through to your last layer of frosting. Here I'm creating a crumb coat with some buttercream. Again, I'll have a link to the recipe on how to make buttercream. And just pressing it up against the cake to trap in any crumbs. And this will just be a very thin layer. Then smooth it all off with your spatula so it's nice and flat. Clear up the top, and then I'd put that in the freezer for about 10 minutes just to help it solidify so it's not sticky. And then you'll add on your last layer of frosting. So this is a very healthy amount. And then we'll be removing it with a bench scraper. Just going around the cake slowly with my bench scraper, making sure to scrape off the excess every time from my scraper. It just makes for a much neater finish, and then clear up the top again. And then set that in the freezer again for 10 minutes before you put on your fondant, and that way your fondant doesn't dent the frosting. So I've sealed it off at the very top edge, and then I'm just kind of removing those folds from the fondant, just kind of pulling them apart, pressing down where they are at the top, and just continuing my way down the cake like this. So spread them apart and press them down. Then using a fondant smoother at the very top and along the sides as well. I like to press down at the very base to make sure that the fondant's stuck to the bottom of the cake. That's usually a problem area. And then to make sharp edges, just kind of rotate your fondant smoothers in small circular motions, just like that, kind of pinching the fondant in between them. Then use a little scalpel tool to remove the excess fondant, just going around the cake. Should give you a nice clean finish. I've got some Creative Cake Decorating Platinum Silver powder here. Putting it into a plate and then adding in some alcohol. Using a brush, going to break that down to create a really nice paint. You can see just how vibrant that silver is. This is one of my favourite powders to use when creating a paint. And then I start painting the cake. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing it gently onto the cake in 3 kind of motions. I go dab, 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 and that way it intensifies the strength of the silver without putting too much pressure onto the cake and creating a dent. So you want to be kind of gentle with this, and if you want a stronger colour, just keep dabbing on the same area. Now notice that at the very bottom they're all clustered together a lot tighter. As I move up the cake, I make that much looser so they're more spread out. Here I've got some champagne gold, same company, by Creative Cake Decorating. Add in my alcohol. And this one here is even more vibrant, looks so pretty. And then go in again with your little sponge finger pad. Here I'm going in between the silver ones. I'm also going kind of overlapping them as well. I think looks really nice. I'm not adding as many of the gold, and notice I'm also making them a bit more dispersed so they're not so close together like the silver ones were. I'm also adding just gold at the very top as like standalone little bokeh. And then just add some at the very top as well. Again, you don't want to make them too close to the very top, that's a whole effect, it's like it's kind of fading out. And that's it. That's a really pretty bokeh pattern accomplished with some edible silver and gold dust. Then put on your topper if you have one, and you're done. I decorate a cake very simply with some gold and silver bokeh. I use little finger sponge application kind of tools to do that, and you can find these at like your hobby stores or your craft and hobby stores should stock them. As for the powders, I bought these from a cake decorating shop called Cake Deco. These are the Creative Cake Decorating is the brand. I'm pretty sure it's an Australian brand. Having said that, you can find these overseas. I think they said some stockers they have in America. Otherwise, online will be your next best bet. And that's the tutorial for today. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this really simple but elegant looking cake design, and I will catch you next time. If you like the little cake topper in gold glitter here, I do sell that on my website, rosiedessertspot.com.